Last weekend, my family and I had an opportunity to see the new animated movie Light of the World. And I just wanted to jump on here real quick, give a few of my thoughts, and kind of do a mini review. In case you haven't heard, Light of the World is a new animated movie told about the life of Christ from the perspective of John the Beloved. Now, the writing took so many liberties in creating backstory and telling the story that, in my opinion, it became a little bit more about John the Beloved than the actual light of the world. But that's my opinion. You'd have to watch it yourself and make up your own. A little bit about the movie: it is animated by a lead animator who is a former Disney animator, and I will be honest, the animation was really well done. Um, Watching it, there were moments where I was like, "Ooh, this gives me Lion King vibes." And I think it was the use of, if you remember Lion King, there are a few scenes where light and dark are contrasted with each other. And in this movie about the light of the world, there is a lot of use of contrasting light and dark in the animation. In addition, there were some accent features, some spirals of light used to accent moments or characters that I also felt kind of reminded me of The Lion King as well. So, overall, I do feel the animation held up to everything that's being said about the movie. That being said, I did feel like the music production was lacking. To me, it was a very similar score, and yeah, well, there were some changes in like tempo, volume, pieces that were trying to highlight pivotal moments. It didn't move me like Disney movies usually do. So, in my opinion, the animation was top notch, but the music production was mediocre. Another thing that I felt was lacking in the movie was the voice acting. So, I've never been a voice actor. I can barely make videos like this, but I expect a certain thing when I'm going to watch a movie. And as an example, without giving anything away, at the scene on the cross, of course, there's dialogue between Jesus and the two thieves. And there was no change in their voice. You don't hear pain, you don't hear weakness, there's no change in their meter. They're talking on the cross like they have been throughout the entire movie. So, and that's happens in other scenes as well, where things are becoming more intense, more animated, or need to be softened a little bit, but the kind of tone of the voice acting was the same throughout the entire movie. From a theological perspective, I did feel like the movie put in a lot more backstory than I'm typically comfortable with in biblical movies. So I would say at least half of the movie is backstory. And to me, when you're in the New Testament, Jesus performs so many miracles. There's so many amazing things that happen. They didn't need that level of backstory in the movie. As well, um, some of the writing and the lines left a lot to be desired. So I hope this isn't a spoiler, but I will give you an example of this. When Jesus is on the cross, there's a key moment that's recorded in the New Testament where Jesus looks at Mary and says, "Mary, behold your son," and then looks at John and says, "John, behold your mother." And of course, he's entrusting Mary to John's care, we know from that passage. This movie did a lot to develop the characters and the relationship between John the Beloved and his mother, and even Jesus and Mary, but they left that key point out in the scene at the cross. I was, because of everything they had done to develop the relationships, and it was one part of the movie I was like, I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to portray this, what the line is going to be. And there was nothing about that in that scene on the cross. So, like I said, there were definitely things in the script, in the story, in the plot line that left me wanting a little from a theological as well as just a script writing perspective. My other concern theologically is that because there is so much added backstory, I don't know that I would watch this movie with a very young child or a new believer unless you have the time to sit down and explain to them what's in the Bible and what's not in the Bible from the movie, because they did add so much to it. Also, if the child just isn't capable of understanding the difference between make believe and reality, I'd be cautious about watching the movie with them. So, as a person who feels it's very, very important to support family friendly Christian movies, it kind of pains me to say that I did feel the movie was a bit mediocre. um, that being said, if you are a Disney fan who is all about Disney visuals and loves good animation and is just looking for a wholesome movie to take your family to, I would highly recommend Light of the World to you. If you are someone who is a little bit more conservative and yeah, you are concerned about the theology or what you're exposing your children to in terms of Bible stories and portraying of biblical characters, then you would probably want to wait and rent the movie when it comes out and make an opinion for yourself. But if you've seen the movie, I'd love to know what you thought of it in the comments below. And if you decide to go see the movie after watching this video, let me know what you thought.